What's up, you guys? This is the first AFC podcast. I'm Dre. This is Antonio. And we're just going to dive right into it. So I think the first question I have for Antonio is where you've played, who you are, all your experiences within just playing itself, and then coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's really exciting to start this up. I know we've talked about this in the past, but we finally sat down to do an episode. So really excited to share our experiences, our knowledge as coaches, as players. So to get started, I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I played club in the area. I played for several teams around Sherman Oaks, San Fernando Valley, Studio City area up in LA. And from there, I played in high school at Loyola High School. Then I did 4 years at Boston College, and then did a year at Creighton, and then played overseas for about 2 years. So that's a little bit about my career. What about you, Dre? What's your background like?
So I started off Orange County, played Orange County my whole life. Literally started off at Laguna United. I was there for 8 years, but I didn't get into the club scene till I was like about 7 or 8. And then I was a field player most of my life until I came into high school. And then when I got into high school, that's when I started to become a goalkeeper. After that, I was at OC Surf ECNL. Then I went to West Coast ECNL.
Wait, so you weren't a goalkeeper until you weren't like
high
a
school.
Full-time goalkeeper until high school?
Full-time goalkeeper in high school,
No way.
Yeah, so I was
didn't
like
even know that.
Forward, midfielder, all that stuff, and then ended up getting stung by a bee and kept gloves on the whole time. And then my coach was like, let's get into goal. So I ended up being good in goalkeeper after a bee sting, kept gloves on, and then really started to pursue goalkeeping like super, super strong. And I never had any private training either. So it was just like natural instincts. I loved watching goalkeeping. I thought it was so sick, but I mean, who doesn't like to score goals?
Right.
So I was always wanted to score goals, and I was up there trying to score goals, but then they would put me in a half so it was like when I was younger, it was like half goalkeeper, half forward. And then it just became full-time goalkeeper once I hit like high school.
So from your freshman year of high school to your senior year of high school, that's all the time it took for you to go play college soccer?
Full-time goalkeeper, yeah. But I was playing goalkeeper for like a half. Okay. And then when it came down to big games, it was like that. But like full-time goalkeeper where that's my one position, it was high school. Yeah. And then I came out in high school, I was able to play with Orange County Soccer Club, play with their academy and their first team. Just in the training squad, though, I was like a fourth string goalkeeper. But I mean, it was such a great experience to be in the pro environment and learn from all these people like Patrick Rakowski, Aaron Cervantes, all these people. Patrick Rakowski the most. He was such a great guy.
Shout out Pat.
Yeah, shout out Pat, and then Colin Shuttler as well.
Yeah.
Such a great guy too. But yeah, that was it. And then I got recruited to go to Concordia University Irvine. Been playing there for 4 years. Been a starter for 4 years, and going into my last season there. So yeah. It's been a journey. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but I wanted to go in a little bit more, ask you about what was your experience like playing at that Division I college level that you had? I know you've talked to me a little bit about it, but that experience you had of just being thrown in, you know what I mean, after not expecting it. But I want you to tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in high school I had that goal to play college soccer. I didn't know how it was going to go down or where I was going to play, but I had that conviction that that's what I wanted to do. So, I went to Boston College, and, as a first-year player, you're not really expecting to get much playing time, especially as a goalkeeper. You kind of go in with that attitude of, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to be a good teammate, I'm going to treat my trainings and my practices like the game. So that's really the mindset I had going into it. A few circumstances kind of shaped out where I was thrown into the mix my freshman year, straight out of high school, right into an ACC level from the top of the from the top of the season. So that was a really great learning curve for me. I thought that it was a great opportunity to put to use all the work I had been putting in to get to that point. I remember that off season, I was working really hard, trying to get up to speed to seamlessly make that transition. So from there, started my freshman year, started my sophomore year, and was really kind of just like a sharp introduction to it. Mm-hmm. Normally, as a goalkeeper, you go in and you kind of get mentored or shaped by an older goalkeeper. Maybe the junior or the senior who's starting, he'll kind of take you under his wing and you kind of learn how the program works, learn how the politics work of the team and how you fit into that conversation. But I think my experience was a little bit different, just thrown into it, kind of like figure it out as you go. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. Like going into a situation, not knowing everything up front, but figuring it out as you go, whether that's in business and life. If you're in a situation where you have to have all your ducks in a row before you press go, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. So I knew that it took that type of courage and that type of understanding. It's like, all right, well, you're as ready as you'll be. So go out there, kick some butt, and then you can consolidate from there and see what you need to improve on.
Do you think the mentality of you having that I'm going to go into training every single day and I'm going to treat it as my game separated you from the other goalkeepers that were around you in a mentality type of state? Or were those goalkeepers kind of thinking the exact same way that you were, that every single training you're going into is going to be like a game?
Yeah, I think it's twofold, right? You have goalkeepers at that level, at the college level. They're all, really good goalkeepers in high school or club or academy. They go in, they've always been the best goalkeeper on their team or in their area. So they go into a college team or a college conference and every goalkeeper is pretty solid. So you got to find what is going to separate you at that level. For me, I just had to get even more psycho-competitor. I had to get even more detail-oriented. I had to get even more, thorough with my process. And to tell you the truth, it was a learning experience. Because if I look at the person I am now to the person I was when I got there, completely different guy, completely different concept on how to approach preparation, as a goalkeeper. So I learned so much. I grew up super quickly. Definitely learned a lot, and it's not always perfect. And that's one thing that I take away from those years is it's not going to be perfect. And at that time, I was under the impression that it was going to be perfect, and I wanted it to be perfect. And I was expecting, if I put this in, I'm going to get that perfect result, and that is so far from the truth. You can control your inputs to a point where you have to work as hard as you can, put all the inputs in, and then see what the output is. And if the output's not good enough, then there's something in the input that wasn't right. Or you thought it was right, but it's not enough. So I don't know, how do you see that, like with your process and everything?
I feel like that goes with life as well, like what you were saying. Like we want everything to be perfect. We want everything to be with our plan and everything, but literally nothing goes to plan. Like we have a plan for how we want it to come out, but at the end of the day, it's like what you're putting in, like your input. That was amazing. But my experience was kind of like yours, is like I'm walking in my freshman year. I'm not really expecting to start or anything. And I ended up getting thrown in against Cal Poly Pomona my first ever game. And I was not expecting to start. Like I got on the van. I was like, all right, I'm ready to like give my starting goalkeeper a good warm up. Cause he was a 6'7" senior my freshman year. And I was like a little 5'10". Like, I mean, I haven't grown a lot, but I was like 5'10", still the same height. It says 6 foot actually on the bio, just for like people.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here, man.
But I was walking in. I didn't really have any expectations of starting that game, and he calls out the starting lineup and he says my name, and just butterflies hit my stomach and my heart drops, and I just feel like holy crap! Like there's a like stadium filled with people, and I'm warming up for my first game, and I just remembered all the training I've done, all the coaches that have helped me out, and I talked to myself a lot, especially before games, and I just told myself I'm ready. You've prepared everything you can for this, and it's my time to show what I've been dreaming about, and it was just my time to show it, and I ended up going in, first 10 minutes of the game, 3 shots off the crossbar, bop bop bop. And I'm just like, I'm in it right now.
Welcome to college soccer.
Yeah, welcome to college soccer. I'm in it right now.
Right.
And then I just remember the first save I ever had in college. Guy's driving down the line, cuts in onto his right foot from the left side and hits like an inside foot whipper to the top corner. And my first save is a top hand save that just goes with my right hand out for a corner. And I make that save, and all like the older center backs come to me and they're like give me a dap up. And then after that, I'm like adrenaline's pumping. I'm like, I'm in it. Let's go. And I ended up having a crazy game. I had I think it was close to 11 saves that game, and we ended up winning 3-2. But that's one game that will always stick with me. just like knowing that I've prepared for 5 years, consistently training my mind, my body, going through hardships and all this, to just be ready for that one moment that it's time to like prove yourself. And because goalkeeping is all about proving yourself in the moment. When you have your opportunity, no matter if it's in the last 10 minutes, your first start, you have to be able to show that you're there and you're able to perform. And that was my opportunity. And I'm beyond thankful for the people I had around me, coach giving me the opportunity. But I didn't have a senior goalkeeper to learn. After that game, the senior goalkeeper ended up leaving the team. And now it was just me and a sophomore keeper that just transferred. So I was figuring it out just the way like you were. And I thought it was going to be harder than it was. It was definitely hard. But I think just getting thrown into it and just having to figure it out on your own really just separates you from the rest. I was a very emotional player. I would yell at the ref, try and go out and like 2-foot people. Always wanted to come out, take out people's legs. And it's been a journey, dude. Like now, like I had a game yesterday in San Francisco, and it was a penalty. I had the ball in my hand, and I was like walking up to him, trying to hand him the ball, and then he tries to grab the ball, and I move the ball away. So I'm like already trying to play mind games with him, and then I hand him. I'm like, all right, you can have the ball, and then he tries to grab the ball again, and I just drop it on the floor, and now he picks up the ball and he looks at me, and then he spits down at my feet, and I'm just standing there like freshman me reaction would have been like a push and a punch. There I'm just standing nice and strong, and then I'm just standing there. I spit on my glove. Do this with my hands and everything, and I'm just looking at him, and next thing you know, he grabs the ball and just pushes me out of the way. And yeah, I'd like fall back, and I'm like, yo, like whoa. He gets a red for him spitting on me. Boom, I'm already in his head. They score the PK. The next guy tells him he scores the PK. I thought I was gonna be able to save the PK, but they score the PK. That's where
this was going.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't going there. I thought it was gonna go there too after that, but they scored the PK. But honestly, like I've developed so much within the 4 years of me as a player and as a person, and it's just been an experience through playing in college.
Let's get into that. You know, how much of that development as a person, as a player, you know, as a business owner.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about it, because I think it's super rare, especially, you know, from your experience, you know, playing college soccer, being local to the area, starting AFC. Tell me more about what that was like when you started to realize that coaching was a way for you to really create an impact in Orange County. Like, share with me how you started AFC and how it came about. Yeah,
I mean, it started. I was a gymnastics coach when I started off coaching, and that's kind of where I got introduced to like hanging out with kids. I've always been just really good with kids and just really good at understanding like different types of kids, how they think, how they react to certain information. So it started off as a gymnastics coach, and then I just knew that wasn't what I wanted to do, and I never did gymnastics before in my life. So I was like, I mean, I'm doing gymnastics. Why don't I just do soccer? And during COVID, I built this whole website. It was my recruiting website. So when I was getting recruited, I had like a recruiting website where I had my highlight videos, my accolades and all that. So I turned that website into like a coaching website. And then I just started, I said, you know what, put in my 2 weeks. And then I just said, I'm going to go all in. And I met someone at the park. I went up to him, and then I started training them. From them, it turned into like 3 people, 4 people. Then 4 people turned into 8. 8 turned into like however many. It was like just started growing word of mouth. And being in school and trying to grow a business definitely taught me a lot about time management. And I thought mostly about soccer, business, then school. That was like my mentality of growing this, because I wasn't really focusing on school. And that was like one of my mishaps when I was growing up in my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, is like I wasn't fully focused on school. I was just focused on growing this. So that was like one part of my life that like kind of dropped, but other 2 sides were kind of growing. And I just didn't know how to time manage. It was completely new to me to kind of waking up at 6 a.m, doing class from 7:30 to 2:30, and then training from 2:30 to 4, and then from 4 to 9 p.m. going to the field and doing coaching. And that was Monday through Friday, every single day, besides if we had games, and then Sunday as well, coaching from like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it was just me. But I mean, the growth I had as a person, just having to like drive home after and getting home at like 11:30 and just sitting in the car and you're like drained. I know, like you've been feeling it lately. Like you're sitting in the car and all your energy that you've just given out to every single kid that you've just trained, and you give them 100% of whatever you have in you, even when you can only give like we can't give 100% every day. So when you can only give them that 90% of everything you got, you give it all to them. So when you're sitting in that car, when you get home and you're just like, oh man, like you're just breathing and just exhausted. I did that alone for like 2.5 years, 3 years almost. And I feel like the kids saw that. The kids saw what I was doing. The parents saw that. They understood what I was doing and how I was doing it. They would always ask me like how I'm doing, and I would always say good. But when you get home and it's like you have to study for a test or you have a game the next day, or it's like just you doing it, I mean, it really gets to your head. And it was difficult trying to grow it on your own. But I mean, like, if you're trying to become a pro, if you're trying to go to college, if you're trying to create your own business, if you're trying to have good grades in school and graduate with a degree, there's going to be those hard times. And those hard times truly have built me into the person I am, who I want to become, and who I want these kids to become. I want to learn from what I did wrong at those times and give these kids the opportunity to learn from my mistakes so that they don't have to make the same mistakes. And it was a journey, and I'm beyond blessed to have you come on, have Coach Sebi come on. Now we have Coach Matthias coming on, and just sharing that feeling and that passion I have of just impacting and creating good kids. That's why we do this. It's more than just the training. Impacting and creating good kids so that in the future, when they're going into college or when they're going in and they're maybe getting married, like, I want them to remember us. I want them to remember us with the stuff we taught them, not just soccer. You know what I mean? Soccer can be a complete career for a lot of people, or soccer can be temporary. But that temporary, like, really challenge within the sport gives you so much more knowledge than I really believe anything else can give you, but with the right people, with the right coaches. And I'm beyond blessed to have a coach at my school right now, and his name's Coach Eric Kirsch. Man, that guy is the most passionate person about the game, but he is there to develop men. And I feel like he's developing me into a man that I would have never thought I would have became. And I think that's just our job, to impact kids, breed them into great players, but amazing people. And that's why I started it. I kind of started it just to train, and then out of time and out of the kids you meet and the kids you have an impact on and the people you really just like touch, and they touch you. It just completely transforms your brain and what you're creating. It's not just about the training. It's about everything else around the training and being there for the kids when they need it, giving them tips and everything. It's just, it's so much. Yeah.
When was the first moment that you realized it was more than just the training?
Oh man.
Like the moment.
The moment. I think it was definitely when I met Addison Franco. She's been a day one. She was like number 7, number 8 of the clients, but she was like day one. Her story is insane. And once I learned about her story and I gave her a pair of GLOVUS, and she saw the heart on those gloves, and she looked at me and Dina looked at me and their eyes started watering. I was just like, whoa, like this is, I'm doing something way more than just training kids. And that was like the turning point of when I saw like, this can be like something very, very impactful that is way more fulfilling for me than just playing pro soccer. And that's when that decision kind of coming like, do I want to play pro? Do I want to just coach? Do I want to play pro? Do I want to just coach? And then I looked at it as like, if I play pro, I'm doing it for myself, and am I going to know a lot of kids through the process? Or if I do coaching, I'm going to touch a lot more people, be able to give them a piece of who I am and what I believe in and what I've done, and just impact them as much as possible. So that was kind of like a turning point where I was like, my brain was pro, and then I got into coaching and I was like, whoa, like I can impact a lot more kids and people. And I know when you first started coaching with us, it was when you were about to leave for the Pharaohs, right? Mm-hmm. Like right before. And when you were about to leave to the Pharaohs and we did that camp and we were like, you were coming in and you were like hanging out while we were just like coaching for a little bit, like what did you feel in that in that moment when you first saw like what was going on and all that, like before you left?
Oh, I thought it was great. I could see it from the very start that there was something special about what you and Sebi at that point were doing. That was fall/winter of 2022. Mm-hmm. And I could see it. I could feel it in the stories that I watched when I was out in the Pharaohs playing. I could see it when I would come and just hang out and check out the sessions. And that type of energy is contagious. There's just no way to say it differently. Like, that energy is contagious. I'm a guy where I run on energy. And for me to see that and to feel that energy, I was like, that's something. So I always felt like there was something there for the future, and I loved it. I felt compelled to it. And that was November of 2022. For all the people out there that remember the Thanksgiving AFC GLOVUS camp in November of 2022, we had our very first camp, and that's when we first started working together. Mm-hmm. We had our camp, we had the tent there. It was a whole thing, and we had a pretty good turnout.
I think it was 11 kids that first one.
11
right?
kids.
11 kids that first one in the back left corner of Lake Forest Sports Park. Yep. And it was just the goal, some poles, and then it was you, me, Lo, and we had Tegan too, right? That first one, was it Tegan?
That was the second one. I think that was the December one. Remember the Thanksgiving one was when your buddy's name again. We went to his house the other night for the worshiping thing.
Oh, Tyler came. Yep. Oh my gosh.
So Tyler was there.
Right. Yeah.
So we had that whole thing. Mm-hmm. It was the turkey goalie camp / striker camp.
Yeah.
And that was when I realized that there was not just a training experience that was special, but a business model that was very attractive and something that we could work on and collaborate together. Mm-hmm. At that point, I was working on GLOVUS, you were working on AFC, and we had collaborated there. We had done another camp in December before I had left for the Pharaohs for that year. We did, I don't know if any of you remember, but we did a webinar.
Yeah.
2023 January, right? Yeah. A goal setting webinar where we talked about, and then you and I were like, all right, how are we going to make this business work when I go back to Europe? Mm-hmm. And we were talking about it and figuring out, okay, we'll do these webinars, we'll do this, we'll plan. And then we just kind of kept in touch the whole year of 2023. Mm-hmm. I kind of kept an eye on everything, on like the sessions, and I was just blown away, just loving what I was seeing and loving the growth. And we would talk. And then, when I came back in November of 2023, it was December 2023 was our first AFC GLOVUS camp. And that was probably the official start of when we started collaborating on the legit camps that many of you attend and love. And just by the way, we love putting those camps on. It's a tremendous way to get a lot of great goalkeepers in one place, having a great time and getting some good training in. But I know Dre feels this way. We always leave those camps feeling so fulfilled, and our hearts are so just to the brim with appreciation and gratitude that we are able to do this and to provide this experience. It's more about the experience and this feel-good energy that we can provide for these athletes. And, families and parents drive all the way from Los Angeles, even Agora Hills, down to Orange County for this 3 hours of fun. And there's a reason for that. And we're very proud that we are able to do that, and we're just getting started. So, that has been amazing. I've enjoyed coming on to AFC and, as a coach, as someone who's just really supports the whole concept and the ideology of what AFC stands for. I've really enjoyed that. It's been a pleasure. We're really just in it. Like you said, we're in it, and for the right reasons. I will touch on. I want to go over how we met, and then I want to go over kind of what you were saying about pouring your energy into the hour with the client, kind of those dynamics, because I think it'd be really valuable for some of those coaches out there to hear how we look at coaching, how we look at that hour with our client, how we approach it, not only from like what we're doing in the drills, but from a business perspective and from a person-to-person perspective of how we approach that. So I guess we could start with like
I think
how we met.
I think the best person to say how we met was you, because you caught the eye of it, of
Yeah.
when we met. And it was I'll give like the background of it. It was like,
Okay.
I'm sitting in the locker room at Orange County, and I've been wearing GLOVUS for 5 years now, close to 5 years now, and I started wearing them in high school. I made a video of them. I got the first pair when I think it was a junior, so I think I was a freshman in college, or was I a freshman in college when we first met, or a sophomore? Would that have been 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Maybe 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years. So I was probably a sophomore in college, and I was sitting in the locker room. I had my gloves next to me, and I was just like minding my own business, because when I got into the locker room, it was just like myself on a bench with like my band and warming up for training. But that's the context of it. But I'll let Antonio talk more about how we met.
Yeah. So basically, I think it was back in 2019, GLOVUS had done this this program when the NIL was just starting. We had done like a college goalkeeper, sponsorship program where we would, work with college athletes right when that NIL stuff was just starting. We were trying to get some college athletes under the GLOVUS brand. And I remember Andre was one of the first applicants that submitted his thing. And this guy was still in high school, and he just put I don't remember what it was, but
I wrote a paragraph, dude.
You were in high school,
yeah.
And I didn't catch it, but what you wrote was so well written, and it embodied GLOVUS and everything that GLOVUS is.
That was before ChatGPT too.
Before ChatGPT, so that says a lot. No, I'm kidding. But just to read what he wrote about why he wanted to join GLOVUS or be a part of it, it was amazing. I was like, yeah, for sure, we got to send this guy some gloves. So, I didn't think anything of it. Just fast forward to, a few years later, I was on trial at Orange County, and, I had walked into the locker room, and I looked down on the bench, and I see a pair of GLOVUS gloves. And immediately I'm starting to think, who is wearing GLOVUS in here? Like, there's 3 keepers in here. Who's wearing GLOVUS? Because I definitely know who it is. And I'm like, okay, trying to figure out who is this. So I'm getting dressed, getting prepared for training, and I see you walk out of the bathroom or wherever, getting taped, and I go up to you. I'm like, hey, dude, those are some cool gloves. And he goes, yeah, dude, they're GLOVUS. You got to try them. It's amazing, bro. Like, they're such good gloves. I'm like, no way, really? And then we kind of just had discovered who you were, and I was just like blown away that that brought us together. And that the way that the gloves kind of introduced us in that way, and we started to train together, learn more about what we were doing, and then that's kind of how it started. And then we just kept in touch, and I was doing some sessions on the side back then, even probably like in that spring.
Yeah, it was that spring.
March, April, May of
Then we started doing next to each other at Lake Forest.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. You would come, and then you would be coaching the goalkeepers right on the side, and then you would just be hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I remember that.
And that seems like it was just yesterday, but basically GLOVUS brought us together, and it was just very random. I don't believe it, I believe that it was like meant to be.
100%.
Just where we are now to what that does, and just the whole idea of the heart and the love we have for the game, the love we have for coaching, how GLOVUS and AFC tie together so well. And the fact that was one of the ways that brought us together is like a truly special thing. That's kind of how we met. And then we just kind of went from there, right?
Yeah, dude. It's a crazy way to think, like, that's how we met. And then we started just dabbling into coaching together. Like, it was just started coaching next to each other. Then it was like a camp. Then it was with each other. And then it was group sessions. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like a full-blown, like... Operation, dude. That's a perfect way to put it. A full-blown operation of, like, what we have planned for these kids, who we're coaching, how we coach them, different ages, all this different type of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, dude, it blows my mind. And I think the biggest thing for us is, like, I know you've had private training when you were younger, and you were working with some, like, the best goalkeeper coaches ever. And then for me is, like, I didn't really get private training when I was younger. And then when you started coming in and coaching, I was like I was just like, for me, it was like thinking about the technique and just making up a drill that I think would work best within the technique. And then you came in and you had like this completely different style of coaching, like situational movements, all this different type. And I'm like, damn, that is sick. So I feel like we've grown as coaches together with bringing up both our different styles of coaching and almost making them into like one. Because we have these group sessions on Mondays and Tuesdays during the summer of our advanced goalkeepers, and if I was a goalkeeper, I would want to be in those sessions. Like, those sessions were insane, so fun, so like knowledge dropping in every single session, so much energy, so much like community within one group of goalkeepers. It's just been so fun, dude. So fun.
100%. I definitely agree with you that we both bring something different to the table as coaches, yet we are able to mold it and present it to our clients in a way that isn't confusing to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I've learned so much from you when it comes to drill creation, when it comes to philosophies, colors, shapes, body positioning. All these things that coaches don't think about when they're doing a session, that when you tie it all together makes all the difference. So I've learned a breadth of knowledge from you. So it's been combining what we both know and creating like a super team. Yeah. Where we really provide that great service.
100%.
And I think that's the challenge, when you have a service-based business, when you're coaching, it's like, what part of the service do the clients and the parents come for the person? What part of it do they come for the actual training? The combination of the two? How do we make sure we scale that where the quality of the service is the same no matter who you get at AFC?
Yep.
And that is a testament to you and what you've crafted over these past few months and these past few years of what it means to train with AFC. You are not coming and getting a blanket service. You are getting a tailor-made service where we are thinking of every last detail to what could make this hour the best hour you could have.
Yeah.
From how you're greeted, to what the warm-up is, to the philosophy, to what we're saying, how we're saying it, and how we're delivering it. It's a lot. And I don't think that coaches go deep enough sometimes with how they're thinking about that hour. And we're very detail-oriented people. We're perfectionists. We are psycho-competitors, and we want it to be the best service possible. And we're not perfect. We'd be the first to admit that. But I believe that that's what makes this special, is that we're really trying to leave every stone. We're trying to cover every base in the sense that we're thinking of everything. So I wanted to tie that back in on how we bring all of our experiences to the table. And I loved what you said earlier about, when you have that hour pouring yourself into the person, we all are doing things from 7 a.m. to 3 o'clock. And yet we're still coming from 4 to 9 and giving everything we have. So, what I've learned since doing that every day has been, there is a fine line up here. It's not anything other to do than, it has nothing else to do besides your mentality. So, the second that door closes for my car and I leave my car, no matter what happened during the day, no matter where I'm coming from, how tired I am, you close that door and coach mode goes on.
Yep.
And you have 5 clients, 5 hours of people who are relying on you to provide a service for them. And they don't care what happened during your day. They don't care. They're paying you to provide a game-changing difference. That's why they come to us, to improve their game. So it's like, understanding that was huge for me. Like, and with anything you do, like if you're a parent or if you're a business owner and someone betrays you in business and you're like, wow, like I got to go home now to my kids. Like, am I going to project that onto my family? How am I going to show a straight face so that the ship sails smoothly? Like those are some things that I see carry over and from business into life that I think could be applicable to a lot of people. What do you think about that?
I'd totally agree. I think that goes to like towards relationships with like a girlfriend, a boyfriend, parents, even a friend that you have. Like everything can go wrong every single day. But if you let that one little thing kind of determine what the rest of the day is going to look like, then it just shows that like mentally you're not strong enough to kind of persevere over that. You know what I mean? Especially with like going from school and having a terrible training. Say I have a terrible training and I go and I know I have to go like 5 hours with these kids and give them everything I need to give them. And I let that one thing kind of disrupt the rest of the trainings. I am disrupting the rest of more than 5 people's days. You know what I mean? It's not just me, it's everybody else around me. We're all social animals and we all rely on other people's energy, other people's presence, especially with kids. You know what I mean? These kids rely on us for energy. And I always tell them like, if they're having a bad day, like energy is reciprocated. So if they're giving me like a low energy, kind of moody, like not really, like a little bit of attitude, you know what I mean? I'm like, how would you feel if I like did that back to you? Would you like it? No. Then that's where I try and teach them like, just because of whatever went on at school, this is like your hour to let go of everything that's going on and just be present with the ball at your feet, with the music that's playing in the background, and enjoy this next hour you have of being challenged, fighting through these, I call them mental demons, like mental things that are saying, I want to stop. Oh, I can be at home resting. I want to do something else. I don't want to be here. Like those are all voices in your head that are constantly there, no matter if you're in school, in business, in anything. You know what I mean? They're always there. And I try and teach these kids at a young age that those voices will always be there. And how are you going to be able to conquer those voices and just know your escape? Because right now, these kids go to school in the morning all day long. They'll come to maybe a training beforehand. They'll come to us, or they'll come to us and they'll go to training after. And then they have to go do homework and then they have dinner and they sleep. Like that hour with us should be an escape hour. I always feel like it shouldn't be an hour of like them needing to come in and just like grudge that they're coming in. You know what I mean? That's my last hope that they have. I want them to come in and enjoy being able to come in and be with us for an hour and just know that this is a safe place. This is an energetic place. This is a place to, if something's going on at school, they can let us know. Like this is a place that is for them to just let go. And I feel like for me, when I was younger, I didn't really have a coach growing up, but when I would go and train on my own, when I would go to the gym on my own, like I had a lot of things going on in life, but that hour I had of just being on the field or in the gym or with my team is like nothing's going on but where I'm at. Like embracing the now of where I'm at, being present of where I'm at. And it's just so powerful to learn that at such a young age because everybody, no matter who they are, is going to go through a hardship in life. And for them to understand that they have an escape route to focus their energy into something different than just like soak in that little bad thing that's going on in their lives for the whole day is so powerful. And I found that to me as when I was younger is like being able to find that escape route was soccer and going and training and going and just pushing myself. So I always try and force that, not force it, but tell them and have them understand that this is the place for you to completely let go for an hour, no matter what.
Absolutely. And I think in a world where so many people are telling these kids, no, you're not good enough. No, not good enough. We have the opportunity to instill a confidence that is unshakable. And that's one of my favorite things about coaching is that for that hour, like what does it harm you to give the kid a little confidence? Like what's the big deal if you're overly positive and overly confident about what they're doing? You have no idea what someone could be going through at home in their own head, right? So to give that little extra love for us is one of our core principles and values because we just want to see these kids be happy and succeed. And if we're the one place they can turn to for a really fun hour or a really hard hour, like a really challenging butt kicking hour.
Yeah.
Then that's our obligation as coaches. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of coaches miss the mark on that.
I think discipline's a huge part of it too.
Huge.
I think we're really big on the discipline side of things. I mean, I grew up, I was a crazy kid, and my parents threw me into karate for 12 years because I was I just ran around the walls and was I was just crazy. And what karate taught me was discipline and having order, like being super respectful to anybody that's older than you. Yes, sir. No, sir. All this stuff. Like karate, we would bow to our sensei. You know what I mean? That showed respect towards them. And I get these kids sometimes like just running around, talking when I'm talking. Like that is a basic foundation for any kid to understand. And I feel like that's kind of lacked upon in a lot of other, like I personally feel like it's not instilled in a lot of kids. And I know parents try to instill it, but if you think about it, like at least for me as a kid, like when my parents would tell me something, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? But when it's someone else enforcing it on you, and you know it's an environment that you have to listen in, or there's like going to be a consequence of running or burpees or something like that, they're going to learn. And over time, when they learn, a coach that's recruiting them is going to look at, oh, who's standing straight? Who's watching me? Who's saying hi to me beforehand? Who's saying thank you, coach, after? You know what I mean? All these little things that they look like small details at the moment that you could just like, oh, they're just talking over me, whatever. Like, just let them go. Like, it is a detail that you can catch in the moment, fix it, and 5-10 years from now, that kid is going to be a completely different kid because of what you fixed in that moment. And it doesn't happen once. It doesn't happen twice. It's probably like 400 times of you saying that exact same thing over and over again to that one kid or that group of kids that they'll start to understand and they'll start to get better. Like I remember I had this one group started off, you know exactly the group, but they're crazy. They're everywhere. And over time, I started to get control of them. Control in the right way of where they're listening. They know the consequences. I say one thing, boom, they're on a line, they look at me and they're ready to listen. And I feel like that is an art of being able to control little kids, a group of like 5 or 6 of them that are just everywhere. But when they come, and especially when they're together, like, you know what I mean? When they're together, all best friends. I mean, if I was around my best friends when I was younger with a ball at my feet, I'd be crazy too. But there's a time and place to listen and be really in the moment of what someone else is saying. And it's an art, dude. And I really feel like we give that discipline to kids. Not a bad discipline, a discipline that every kid should know that is in any sport or in life, because that transfers to everything.
Absolutely. I think it's building those habits brick by brick of, you know, going back to what we're saying about what we're trying to do, right? Like the North Star is building them as soccer players, but also as people. So if you think about a good person in your head, that person's probably disciplined, right? Very respectful, disciplined, on time. Like some of the things you're going back to, you know, we notice if you're showing up right at 59 before the session. Now I get it. We're trying to get this kid here, this kid there. We got to navigate this and this and this traffic, whatever. But, you know, for some of the older players that can drive themselves, are you the first one there? You know, are you shaking hands with the coach when you get there? Is it yes, coach? Is it, you know, all these things?
Yeah.
And I didn't know that when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And I recently learned that when I was, you know, like on the verge of college playing pro, and those things matter. And for the people that don't think they matter for your own dignity, for your own pride and your own standard. So we always have an opportunity to hold our own self to our own standard. And when you stack that self-confidence, that you're stacking those habits for yourself, you now show up in a better light because you're doing the things that you said you were going to do. And it's just a ripple effect.
100%.
So we notice that stuff, and that's the type of person and player we're trying to build. Yeah. Funny story on this. I'll share it because you were telling a story. So recently, I don't know why, but I get a lot of kids that will reply with bet.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
They'll say,
yeah,
I bet, after I explain a drill. And I say, what? I said, bet? What do you mean? Like, yeah, I bet. Like, no, like push-ups, go, you know?
Yeah.
Like at least 10 push-ups for saying bet. And some people are like, oh, I get it. Some people are like, why does it matter if we say bet? Like everyone says bet. And to me, bet is not, it's not like a normal word. It might be like right now, but to me, it's like if you say bet to a coach or a teacher, that
disrespectful to me.
That sounds like bet, like something you'd say to your boy or to your buddy or to your, friend and say, all right, bet, yeah, I'll meet you here at whatever.
Yeah.
Or all right, bet, yeah, I'll have that, whatever. You don't say, all right, bet to a coach who's explaining a drill. It's like, yes, coach. And it's like, even if someone says, yeah, like, does that make sense? Yeah. And they'll like look down and it's like, yeah, or yes, coach. And then they say, yes, coach. And just the sound of it sounds way better, sounds cleaner. Even when someone's in a drill and they're doing a movement and they don't ask for the ball, it just affects the energy of the session. In a game, it's noticeable. If they don't sprint when we want them to sprint, as a coach, you've seen it. When you operate a drill from the coach's perspective and you see all the little different details at once, it looks like a masterpiece. It looks like art because it is. And when they apply all those different things, yes, coach, sprint when you need to, open with the right hip, heel in front of toe, check your shoulder when we tell you, scan your shoulder. It's for a reason because it looks really good and it looks pro. And that's what we're trying to recreate. So that's like a little bit of why, like the why behind the discipline. You might roll your eyes and say, okay, we get it. You're disciplined or whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. And I'd rather be disciplined and be a hard ass, excuse my language, than like not have high standards.
100%.
It's like, what is that? What are we even coming to the field for? Setting up the goal, setting up all of these drills that we put time into if we're not going to hold a high standard. What's the point? Yeah. We could be doing something else. Yeah. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It just, to me, it sets us apart from a lot of people. A lot of coaches that I've seen that coach, like they'll get there, they'll set up their drills, they'll run the session, and then they'll be done. Like I feel like with us, we always make a connection with, if it's not the player, it's the parent. We just make sure we're there and we show that we're thankful for them coming. We're thankful for them taking their time out of the day to bring them and train with us. And I think number one thing I've always been thankful for is the people that train with us.
Yes.
Like they're beyond, I'm beyond thankful for every single person that wants to even text us to be interested in training because they've heard from someone that we've coached that, hey, like they're pretty good. Like you guys should come train with us. And I'm just so thankful for anybody who steps into it because ultimately, like without them, the business isn't running. But ultimately, like we're not touching lives if it isn't without them. You know what I mean? And I think for me, that's just like, it's huge for us to be able to separate ourselves in that aspect of coaching and in business because to become the best in any field you want to be in, discipline is first.
So let's get into your philosophy on coaching and how you approach your methodologies, your drill creation. That's one thing I've always loved about you is you have such a creative mind that's able to put these different movements down in the moment. Let's start with this question. Should a coach have the drill plan before they show up or should they do the drill on the fly? Because I've seen it work both ways where someone will plan the drill and then they'll do it and it's perfect. Or you get to the field, you see a shape and then you put it down and then it's like insanely good. So how should coaches out there go about drill creation? And what are some of the bullet point things that we look for when we create drills?
Yeah, I think for me is like knowing the age of the player, how the player reacts to certain information, what they need, and then kind of like their level. So for me, I always think of shapes first and like concepts we want to work on. So say I get a pretty high level midfielder and I know that always the first 10 minutes is activation. So activation that be with their body through the ladder, dynamic movements like game realistic sprinting movements or with the ball. Always those first 10 minutes are activation, getting their brain and their body working as one versus their body just moving and their brain not being activated. So first 10 minutes is always activating everything and making sure we're right in. then the next 20 to 25 minutes will always be that first phase from what we take from that warm up, and we take it into like the first phase of the drill. So say we're working on checking the shoulder and turning into space. So I'll break down the movement of checking the shoulder first. That'll be phase 1. And then we'll move that movement into a different phase within that drill. So there's usually 2 to 3 phases within one phase of a drill, if that makes sense. But it always comes down to the minute detail. And what I've noticed is a lot of coaches, or at least I used to, just throw a whole drill at someone, explain it, and then expect them to do it. And then for kids, they're not able to take in that information as much, and they won't get as much out of it. So we break it into kind of, this is what you do here. The next, you add on 2 movements here. Then the last one, you add on the last 2 movements there. Then it's like a full floating piece of what they're supposed to do perfectly within that first movement. Once they get that down, they move into the next section. They get that section down with that first movement down. Now we move into the next section of the drill. And it's like a puzzle.
Yep.
Until those pieces are connected, that whole drill is now finished. Then you move on to the next drill. And usually if it's a midfielder, I'll either do passing into space. So I'll use the goals with colors and everything. I'm really big on colors because in a private session or a small group session, you can only do so much to make it game realistic. And the colors are able to activate the brain and activate the mind to reacting. So say I have 2 poles in the goal that are orange and yellow, and before they shoot, I call orange. It's like a goalkeeper shifting and opening up that space for them to shoot. So I've always thought of like colors and really just making the session as game realistic as possible using the sources I have of equipment. And it's another thing we take really big pride in is our equipment. A lot of coaches say, oh, you only need a couple cones and a ball, and that's all you need. But I mean, yeah, I can do a session with cones and balls, but is a player going to feel like they're walking into a professional environment if there's only 3 cones laying on the ground and you're telling them to do footwork within it with no goal? No. I want the player to walk into this training space and I want them to think, whoa, I feel like a pro. They see these videos of the English national team training, Manchester United training, Arsenal training, and they see these mannequins, these poles that are out, these hurdles, and they're already dreaming about this in their brain, and they're thinking about how it is supposed to be like being in a professional training environment. And then we provide the mannequins, the same colored balls, the big goal, poles, and it's all set up, and they walk in and they hear the music and they're like, this feels like a professional training environment. And it's just everything goes in, everything we have on the whole field goes into making those drills as game realistic, as pro environment as possible. And I think that's where my coaching philosophy comes from, is just not having as much equipment as I had when I was younger and just knowing what it is at the next level and seeing the type of equipment they have and just letting these kids have a taste of it. You know what I mean? Maybe they won't get to that pro level or that college level, but they had a taste of it when they were younger, and they know what it's like to be in that type of environment. Because if they don't know what it's like, how are they going to be able to dream more? How are they going to be able to think of oh man, I really want to be a pro, but how am I training in that environment where it's just a couple cones, maybe I'm just out there on my own, just creating some stuff. Like I want them to walk in and just feel that. You know what I mean?
So well said. It makes a lot of sense too. I think that in anything, if you make that investment in good equipment, in quality materials, in something that's going to, like you said, create that environment and create that atmosphere where you're trying to replicate it as best you can, I don't see in any way where that's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone can have their own opinion on what you need, right, to be cost effective as a coach, right? Maybe your philosophy is different. You don't need a lot of materials or equipment or whatever, right? And the market's going to decide what that session's worth and what that coach brings to the session and what the environment brings. And ultimately, it's a service. It's a business. We are coaching, but we are also building a business, right? And that's something that I know you are very passionate about. You love business. You love talking business. That's one of the things that we really kind of share similarities in, is we are both very passionate about that.
100%.
And I think in my definition of business, it's to serve.
Yep.
It's to create
Perfect.
to serve.
Perfect.
But it's to create an overload of value to where it's like you feel bad for only paying X amount.
Yeah.
Let me, like the goal, like Hermosi says this.
Yeah.
Says this all the time. Like let them feel bad. Like let me pay you more. You know?
100%.
I think that's something to always strive for. Like let's provide such a good experience that it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That was worth it.
100%.
And we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, literally. Literally. Yeah.
But no, it's great. I mean, yeah, no, I do. We could talk all day about this stuff.
Yeah.
But what let's I want to hear kind of how you're doing, like with your final season. You know, we've had a very busy year.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of growth since January. We've introduced social media to our model. We've seen a lot of great things come from that. How are you seeing social media as a tool for our business? How do you see kind of where you're at right now with your final season? Once you're done with that, going all in on the business, like share a little bit more about what this year's been like for you, and how you're kind of gearing up for 2025.
Yeah, I feel like the first 3 years of kind of doing this business on my own has kind of been of just like getting the people in and just making sure they're like trained properly. And I was just focusing on the training, providing a great training service. I wasn't really thinking about like business things until it really came to the point where like, wow, this is a business. You know what I mean? And once that came around, I remember hitting up, I saw, shout out Zill Media. I saw a podcast with David Meltzer, and I just like was seeing what they were doing, and I was like, you know what? Social media is literally in everybody's hands nowadays, and it's the future. And I've always wanted to like make videos and all this different type of stuff. I've been making videos since I was in high school, like
Same.
Like edits and everything,
Always
me talking in front of camera. And I was like, why not just do it? You know what I mean? Why not just do it? Why not try it out? I hit Zill Media up, and they've just helped us out tremendously within this whole process of this whole year of putting out videos, content, like what videos we want to make. Like every single month we come out and we shoot these videos with an intention of not only helping our clients, but now being in the hands of clients from India. Clients, or not clients, but people from India. People around the world are seeing our faces and our content and learning about our philosophies as coaches and learning from what we're teaching these kids here in Orange County and spreading it to the world. And I honestly never thought that would be possible to kind of touch everywhere, but I mean, we're really doing it. And to me, it's a lot more valuable to provide that type of service to people that are in places where maybe they can't get private sessions in. And they use our videos to kind of teach themselves how to kind of do some drills or different type of movements like that, and just be entertained. You know what I mean? So I think social media is huge, and I personally think social media should be a class in every single school on like how to like talk in front of a camera, everything. And I think it's such an insane skill to have at such a young age. I did like Bears News Network at my middle school, so I was like an anchor man just because it was like the easiest thing. But I mean, I was really good at talking in front of camera, and I feel super comfortable nowadays talking in front of camera, I think because of that class.
Right.
And I just think it's really been a step up within our business, and it just shows like professionalism. You know what I mean? If you look at a training service and you look and you see that they have 50 followers and maybe like one video, like are they really going to be like that like professional? Or you go and you see 10K on TikTok, you see 5,000 followers on Instagram, you see close to 200 posts, like wow, these guys this is a business, you know what I mean? They're trying, they're showing, their faces are out there, they're putting up information, no matter if they're getting hate, no matter if their ideas are crap or everything. Like, we've had so much hate comments, but honestly, like, we love the hate. Like, bring it on, because it just helps so much. It just shows we're doing something right if we're getting hate. And it's a big step for us. But going into my last season, I mean, I've talked to you about it. It's been really, really difficult for me to be able to put a pause on coaching and go full in on soccer, which I haven't done since I was in college. This is like the first year, my senior year, where I've put a pause on the business and just gone all into soccer. And I mean, thank you so much for bringing in and coming in into the role of just taking in this whole flood of clientele. Like, I really couldn't be doing this without you. So thank you. But I mean, I'm just trying to enjoy as much. I want to make sure I get out of this season and make sure I left everything out on the table and I don't have any regrets. That's my biggest thing. And I talked to every single one of the clients before I left that like this is my situation. I want to make sure like I go out and I finish my career off on the note I want to leave it off. You know what I mean? Because if I'm going and I'm training every single day and then I'm doing sessions after, like, your body can only take so much. Like, my knees already feel like I'm 80 and I'm like 21. So like I'm just so blessed to be able to have the support of everybody else. And like, when I go out onto the field, I truly carry like the kids are in my heart and I play for them. I play for my family and I want to set an example for them to show them that anything's possible. And I feel like that this season is like to show them like, hey, like, you can have a whole bunch of things going on, but if you really want to make something work and happen, you just got to do it. And that's literally like what I feel like I'm doing for them. And I hope I can set that example through social media and through the business. So, yeah. Yeah,
you said a lot of great things there. First of all, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to be a part of it. As a player myself, I know that situation that you're in. And the last thing you want to do is compromise that last experience playing and feel like you're 50 in, 50 out. And, you know, as your good friend, as your business partner, as someone who like genuinely does care about you, I want you to completely just soak up that last year and leave it, like you said, leave it all on the table. And dude, business is business. Like, it's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be there the next day, but you won't get that last season back. Yeah. And you don't want to have any regrets. So for me, it's a no-brainer. It's been so fun to coach everybody. Yeah. And I love literally every single person that we work with. So I know they're really excited to have you back. But yeah, man, we're holding down the fort and wanted to kind of just go off of that, like, you know, like as social media has affected what we're doing, you know, like you said, it's really a game changer. And I think that we have so much to offer besides coaching that we want to get out there like this. Like, we have so many ideas in our head that we, you know, him and I always joke, like, all the conversations we have, if we just would record them,
dude, yeah, for real,
and post them somewhere, you know. But we've talked for hours and hours and hours, and even today, I'm learning more stuff about you that I didn't know. So, no, I think it's in a good spot. I wanted to say something, but I completely forgot it.
It happens to me all the time, man. I know, don't even worry.
Yeah, of course it happens on the pod. But so you're gonna say, oh no. So yeah, I mean, it's just a dynamic of sharing content where there's a few facets of it, right? Number one, you're putting yourself out there, right? I know I've always loved being in front of a camera, talking, doing these kind of things. I've always joked with my friends, like, we gotta start a YouTube channel, I gotta do something, but just never happened. But this has been a really exciting thing for me to find my voice online, share content, put myself out there, help AFC grow, help, you know, the business grow, and help my personal brand. It's been a lot of fun, and it's just taken the right timing, right? Like, we couldn't have gotten more blessed with Zill Media with what they've done for us.
100%. Shout out Kyler. Shout out Christian. Shout out Roger.
But it's more than just like the media they're doing. It's like they are legit.
Yeah,
and
for real.
They are guys that work their butts off, and they truly care about the end product.
They're young, and they're the best in the game.
Yeah. So we share some of the same values that they do, which makes it a no-brainer. And it's just a great relationship, business relationship.
100%.
And then the other thing I wanted to touch on with the social media, it's fun to be, I don't know if you've experienced this, but it's fun to be in a session and then some of your kids will just start throwing back one-liners to you of the content. And I'm like,
oh my God, yeah.
I'm like, this kid knows, they all watch. Everybody watches, from the kids to the parents to people you've never talked to in a long time. They're just like, you know, they don't like it, but they'll watch it.
Yeah.
So it's like, Like
I get friends at school that go like, don't do this, do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do all these things.
Yeah.
And then the little kids as well.
I had one kid the other day, I was training him, and he goes, stop scrolling and listen. Or stop scrolling and don't watch stuff that's not good for you. Do this instead. And I'm like, oh God, it sounds cringy. It's good, it might be cringy to you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's how we know how to do it.
100%.
Will the content will we be better as we do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know we're in it for the long haul, so we're not going anywhere. And
I feel like we set the example for kids too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a good example is Ray. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude. Ray
is out here completely working his butt off with content, and I see myself in him.
For sure.
When I was younger, I feel like I was doing that, but he's doing it like times 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, he's really taken that opportunity to build his personal brand, and it was a great move to be a part of that. Both of us.
Yeah.
He's been to our camps. He wears GLOVUS. He's promoting himself and he's promoting all the stuff that we do in a really good light.
Yeah.
And as someone who's trying to build a business like we are, that's all you can ask for.
100%.
Someone to put what you do in a good light.
Yeah.
So shout out GK Ray 1. He's doing a really good job.
There we go.
And then the other thing that happened that was cool the other day. So, we had a really good session with this one keeper. She did such a good job. She's really finding her voice in goal. And as when we do goalkeeper sessions, we make you scream as loud as possible. And it's really uncomfortable for some of those keepers that don't really know how to yell yet, because we're like, say no shot as loud as you can. And they're like, no shot. And we're like, what? I'm going to go take a nap right now. Yeah. Say no shot as loud as you can. And then they say it and they're like, yes. See that? You see how you found that you found that aggression in you? I need that every rep.
Yeah.
So we've been working on that with this one keeper, and she's so good with it that she's screaming no shot. She's aggressive. She's just absolutely killing it in her session. And, I talked to the mom after the session, and she's like, she's doing such a great job. She's talking more in training, and, I wanted her to do it a little bit more this one game. And, I was talking about it on our couch or wherever, in the car, and your video pops up. You just posted a video about how to organize a corner kick. Front post, back post, middle, how to organize your defense. And I showed her, I said, look, Coach Antonio is saying it on Instagram. This is how you should organize your team. And it's a cool opportunity to create a ripple effect, because we only get 1 hour with you on the field. And like Coach Dre said, we're trying to pour everything we can into that 1 hour so that you leave with so much knowledge and expertise. But
they can only take in so much information.
They can only take in so much, yet the social media has given us reach where we're now with them on their phones, where they have access to our knowledge and expertise for free at the click of a button. So that's another factor to the game that we've been able to take advantage of. So I think that's been a great way for us to grow our voice as a business. So
I totally agree.
Shout out to all the media. It's been great. Shout out to all the goalkeepers that make fun of us for our content.
100%.
And all my friends.
Laguna United GKs. Appreciate you guys.
So, and yeah, Ray's doing a great job. Yeah. What are some of the other players you're really happy with right now that are just doing really cool things in the community? I'm beyond proud of everybody and what they're doing within their game. Yeah, Jeremy's killing it right now.
Dude, yeah, Jeremy absolutely doing amazing. He's in the same league as I am, so we play them October 12th.
That's going to be full
excited.
circle.
Yeah,
all those Monday nights when we're just grinding, and then you're his coach, and he's killing it.
Yeah, dude, he just got Pac West player of the week too,
as a freshman.
The defender of the week as a freshman. So
yeah,
beyond proud of that kid. He's worked so hard every single week, and I'm just excited to continue just impacting as many kids as we can, and just be there for everybody. Because ultimately, the stuff we're doing now is only going to continue to happen, and then we're just going to continue to touch as many lives. Even when we went to the 805, where 805 is Ventura. Yeah, Ventura.
GK 805.
Yeah, GK 805.
Oxnard, Ventura, 805
area.
Over
there, and man, it was just it's so cool to just see all that and just see that ripple effect in different communities and all that.
That was a very special camp, and a few reasons, because we've worked with Matt. Shout out Matt. Matt's a great coach, great person, someone that we trust in our circle to share our knowledge with and our expertise of coaching and how to build his business. So we've helped him from afar really grow GK 805. And I think that just goes to show like what we also want to do in terms of not touching just players, but how to, really reach that impact of coaches.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it from like a rational perspective, how do you touch as many players as you can? Like you said, coach as many as you can, scale with more coaches, etc. How do you scale even more? How does your impact affect even more?
Yeah.
How do we find coaches and have them buy in?
Yeah.
And mold their philosophy.
And that's the next step of the business right there.
Do you want to like share a little bit about what we want to do?
Yeah, I think the goal for us is to be able to coach as many players, but there's only so many players that we can both touch. So it's impacting as many coaches as we can. And I think with what we're building together and what we've kind of like set the stone of within trainings and everything, and we have a really, really, really deep knowledge of what we're doing. And for us to be able to spread that to coaches and drop knowledge to them and really impact them in a way where they want to do what we're doing. Maybe they're playing pro and their time's coming to an end and they want to continue playing or coaching and doing something like that, or a college player that needs extra money on the side and they don't want to go get a normal job and they have this really unique talent of being a collegiate athlete and they want to go coach. We want to be able to help out and impact them as much as we can and really just be there for them and make sure that if they need someone to go to that has that knowledge, we are those people to help them out in every shape and form as possible, to just give them that knowledge and just help them out as much as possible. And I think that this podcast and the videos we're going to be putting out next is going to be more about how we can help them understand different parts of coaching and different situations within coaching, business, and in life to help them completely perform in all aspects. And I really think that's the goal. And this first podcast has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I think so. It's been a lot of fun. It's been first one in the books. I was a little nervous at the beginning.
He was sweating.
I'm still sweating right now. Thank God I'm wearing a white shirt, because if I was wearing that shirt, you'd see the sweat stains. But yeah, I mean, you have anything to say to finish off the podcast?
Just thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody who's in our circle, who supports us, all the parents out there that spend their time and their energy to make it possible. Thank you to all the athletes that work so hard for us and with us. And, we're just getting started. This is like literally the tip of the iceberg, and we are going to absolutely take this to a new level. So we're really thankful for all your support. This is going to be a new thing, and I'm just thankful that, we are in this position to be able to help and provide this experience for our athletes and our community. So we'll have a lot of fun guests on. We'll be dropping a lot of knowledge. We'll be literally sharing our secrets of how we do what we do and just giving the keys away, because what good is it if we're just holding on to all the good stuff? We got to just share, whether you're a player or coach specifically, we want to share as much as we can. So that's all I got.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the first AFC podcast. I'm Dre. That's Antonio, and we are in it. Thank you.